Here with my good friend Jeff from Bird Creek Taxidermy, and today we're going to show you how to cape this off of the skull. I know that when you bring it into us as a processor and the majority of the other processors, we cape the deer, but we only come up to here and we give you the head.
Yes.
One, there's a process in that. It takes a lot of time, and you're going to show us how to do that and why it's important to cape that off of the skull, that someone might need to know it. The reason is that if you're in Kansas hunting a deer and you bring that meat back into Oklahoma, you cannot bring the skull.
Can't bring the skull cavity
or the spinal column,
brain matter,
any of that,
or spinal
or any of
matter.
that. So if I went out and killed a Kansas deer, I'm going to need to know how to do this and bring my meat back into Oklahoma, or I might be in Oklahoma hunting. Might be taking it out of state as well. So anyway, Jeff's going to show us how to do that today. Could be a little bit of a lengthy process, and if you don't want to do it, you've done a few where you actually will cape it off the skull and then they take it with them.
I'll do a few every year for out-of-state hunters.
Out-of-state guys. So anyhow, let's get started.
First thing, we got to get rid of the rest of this cape, which I'd rather have the whole cape. That way, if it's cut short, it's my fault.
It's your fault. Now, here's the other thing about it too. When you're doing this, we don't want to take the fresh meat part of this hide and put it over the nose.
No.
You got onto me that for a couple years ago. But if we do that, we want the hair over and then over. So when you're wrapping that up, guys, don't put the skin part of that, the flesh part of that, over that nose, because a lot of the distinct marks are coming off that thing. We don't want to skin that. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. But if you're bringing me a deer, I'd just soon have the whole cape.
You just soon have the whole hide.
Yes.
Good.
I always leave a little bit of neck, that way I can get a couple measurements. I'll take a measurement here and a measurement here, and then I'll measure it again when I get it back from the tannery.
Yeah, and a lot of guys get onto us because we leave this flesh, but again, we want to make sure that he's got the true measurements off of the neck, and so there's a little bit of meat that's wasted, and but that gets us good measurements, and it feeds your dogs well.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dogs love it.
Its dogs love it. So
right now I'm just going to cape it out, trying to stay close to the hide and the meat. That way I don't do no cuts.
Now, if you do make a cut, you can sew.
I got to sew
it up.
Yes.
But you just don't want to.
I don't want to cause me more work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or my wife.
Yeah.
When she's sewing it.
She's a good seamstress.
Okay, now we're going to cut it off right here to the brain cavity. There's a little spot right here. I'm not sure, but
I can see
if you get right above this little spot here on both sides, and it'll just cut right off.
Pops right off there.
And I'll skin down just a little bit farther. Okay, that's that part. Neck's gone. And now we'll flip it over and we'll do the inside now. Right here I go from burr to burr. Kick the ear out of the way, the hair, and I'll get up underneath there. And I use a razor knife for this part.
This one's a razor.
Yes. I go to the brain cavity, and that's as far as I cut them. Now if you're out in the field, you can cut it on down farther. Make it easier for you. We get up here and just twist it back and forth. Sometimes
you ain't never stuck that screwdriver in your hand, have you?
I have.
Yeah, but that hurts.
So we get right up underneath there and just twist and push.
And just peels that right out of there.
Just peels it right out. There you go. Right.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's almost just like prying it out of there, just like a little pry bar.
Just stay right next to the burr.
Yeah.
Don't go way down there.
But you don't want to sew that up?
I don't want to sew it up.
Come on now. I'm just about there, brother. Look at there, one little piece left.
There we go.
All right. Again, here's what I learned. That is not easy. Now let's look at this, because the guy's bringing this stuff too. You see here, this little spot got rubbed raw. Again, I thought this might be from breeding, but you said this right here is he's probably trying to get that, that exact tick, probably trying to get that off there, just rub the spot raw.
He's probably trying to rub that tick off.
Yeah.
But when they get really rubbed raw here, sometime around the first of next month, it'll be from breeding.
Yeah. Now, when you put this on the wall, do you fix that? I mean, is there just it's there?
There's no way to fix it.
It's just there. Okay.
It's just there. And sometimes they rub real hard, and you can't see the hair loss there. But when they tan it, the hair's loose, and it could fall out.
Really?
Yeah, because it's already loose there. Okay, now we're just gonna Finish skinning this out. Past the ears, past the antlers, down to the eyes. It takes me a little longer to skin them out this way. I can just cut it way down and just peel it off real fast. But you get a much better mount because it don't have a seam all the way down its back of its head.
Right.
From being sewed up. Okay, now we're going to be close to the eye, so we want to make sure we get all the eyelids, everything. So we want to cut way back here. And then we can get in there, we get our finger in there and help hold it and peel it off of there. That way we get all the tear duct, eye, and everything.
Every bit of it.
Here's the tear duct. We want to get down in it.
Ah, sure enough.
That way we get all that tear duct. If you cut a little bit of it, it ain't going to hurt. We're going to tuck it away. So you can't always get all the way down in there, so a little cut ain't gonna hurt a thing, because we're gonna tuck that in. I'm gonna put a couple stitches there and tuck it in. We wanna make sure we get all the lips, the nose, nostrils. We'll get down in there and I'll take all that off later, or Tannery will take it all off later. This deer's old. See how them teeth are wore down? This deer's probably 8. This deer's probably 8 years old. That's a good deer to harvest. And when you roll it up like this, especially if you're not gonna bring it to me right away, if you're gonna keep it in the freezer for 6 to 8 months, what gets freezer burnt first is these ears.
Oh, really?
Yes, they get freezer burnt because everybody sticks it in the freezer like this. They don't wrap it up, they just throw it in a bag. And when they get freezer burnt, we have to go in here and cut it here and split them open. So when they get freezer burnt, you can't split them, they rip. And the nose and lips gets freezer burnt. So I take them like that,
roll it up,
and roll it up. Put it in a bag, maybe 2 bags, and put it in the freezer.
Okay.
Took care of it right, it'll stay in the freezer for a while.
Good. It's good to know.
Then you'll probably never get it mounted.
Yeah.
If you want to get it mounted, get it.
Just get it in and get turned in.
Yep. Okay.
So where are we at with mounts this year? What's it costing us?
$500 for a shoulder mount.
Do shoulder mount.
Yes.
Good.
All right, now we're going to cut the skull cap off, and I'm going to have Chris to hold it right there. Now, I'm cutting this one a little bigger. I'll shape it later way up here.
Okay.
But let's cut it a little bigger. Cut it right down there. Now flip it over right. And then we'll get right up in here, right below.
I see what you're doing.
There. Cut it a little big, and you don't have to worry about it.
And you got to get all this cleaned out.
Yep. And then you take it and go over to the trash can. Comes right out.
Right out of there.
Now you can bring this deer and the cape anywhere you want to take it.
Any state. That'll work. Now, why would that be handy? Obviously, if you're an Oklahoma hunter that's traveled to another state and you need to get your head and your mount back into the state, this is how you're going to have to do it. Can't be bringing any brain matter, spinal column, any of that stuff into the state of Oklahoma. Or if you're leaving, the other states aren't taking the Oklahoma deer either. Trying to keep that chronic waste disease out of here, which they still say we've had no reported cases in a wild herd.
That's just one reported case in a caged deer, I think.
Yep. So that's good.
That's whitetail, mule deer, elk.
Good.
Antelope's not in this species.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
But check with your wildlife department. Don't take my word.
Yeah. Hey, so do us a favor, man. Again, Jeff Jones, Bird Creek Taxidermy. Hey, make sure you go and like all his social media. He's got a Facebook page. Yep. Also, if you love this man, do me a favor and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Kicking out a lot of videos like this.